Hello and welcome everyone to another InventRight webinar. My name is Andrew Krause. I'm over there on the left, and Steven's the guy with the glasses. He also, in addition to myself, co-founded InventRight over 20 years ago. We've had students in 65 countries, and we have been coaching and mentoring inventors to license their products ever since. We're very proud of that. We got incredible students that do the work to license their products. And before I even introduce the speaker tonight, we have one of our former students on, Mike Van Horst. I don't consider you former, Mike, because I see you like every trade show I go to. And Mike's going to be on, so I'll introduce Mike first. So welcome, Mike.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I'm very happy to be here. Always good to be on InventRight with you guys.
And you're on because you licensed a product to Jim from Hangman Products, who's on tonight. And so Jim Gallien runs a very large hardware company, and we'll show his website in a little bit here. And Mike licensed his picture hanging product to him, and he's very open to ideas and inventors. And we'll talk about some unique things that he's done that I don't see all companies doing, but how closely he works with Mike to help sell this product. So welcome, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on. I think it would be fun just to jump in and show the product that Mike licensed first. Well, does that sound good? And go from there.
Yeah, let's do that. But before we start, I just want to say that I think it was last year, Andrew Krause and I stopped at Jim, your booth, and it was a wonderful booth, by the way. Colors were great, but we had this great guy out front that was doing demos. And he was showing this great product called Push and Hang and how easy it is for you to hang your pictures basically with no help. You don't need anybody to help you with. And Mike was doing the demos out front. And I was really taken back by that, Jim, that Mike was there helping, pitching the product. How important is that to you at your company to have the inventor involved that way?
Well, it would depend on the inventor. Mike is exceptional at the demos.
Okay.
That, he's so good that QVC is using him. Well, minus when the COVID is over, they're going to use Mike on the live shows. So he did the training, did the pilot back there, all set to go. The day before they aired, decided they wouldn't have any outside guests. So they did it based on what he trained them, and was very successful. Went on to HSN, very successful, and they did it with Mike remotely from his home. I guess what, 2 times, Mike? 3 times?
Yeah, 3 times actually, yeah.
Yeah, very successful. So the product, CGC sold out, they reordered. HSN sold out, and they just reordered today. Very, very successful.
So wait a minute. Now, Mike, you must be a professional pitchman because I've seen you do it. Is that right?
I wouldn't know if I'm professional, but I'm very passionate about my product, and I love, showing it to people and expressing how easy it is for them to use. And so it all just comes natural that way when you're such a, when you believe in yourself and your product, and then also your potential buyers come up and they're so excited about it. So I just love that part of it, just talking to people about it.
Well, last week we had Tom Czar that represents many products on QVC and other ones. He's from Media One, and he says an inventor pitching, that's pretty rare. That you really need a special skill that everybody can do that. So congratulations, Mike, for being able to pull that off.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We're so pleased with the way he pitches stuff. We're going to make him our QVC spokesman. Take other products on.
Wow.
He's excellent.
Now, Jim, where do you sell your products? You have a very large array of products. What stores are you in?
We're in Walmart. Products in Menards, which is Midwest #3 largest home center chain. We have products in Lowe's, a couple different departments. Home Depot, picture hanging set. A lot of that's co-branded. We manufacture, put somebody else's name on it. So
nice.
Can you talk? That's interesting. Can you talk about the co-branding? and
Sure, a lot of,
when that makes sense and what that is?
yeah, one of the challenges in hardware, especially in things like picture hanging and fasteners, no store wants to buy 1 or 2 or 3 items, even 10 items. It's too complicated for them. So they want somebody that will take like the whole picture hanging set. In that particular case, it's Ook or Hillman. So we brought the product to them, co-branded it with them, and it just fit into their planograms in the stores. Home Depot just would not buy from us. They love the product. So we're not going to buy 4 or 5 SKUs out of the 160 SKU section. There's no way to service it. So you've got to find partners that fit, you fit, what they do. If you try to go off course, you'll never be successful.
So you're making a very good point in that a lot of retailers don't like to deal with one SKU, one product companies. Is it an advantage that you have so many SKUs? And can you speak to that on how the buyers perceive a one product company as opposed to Mike licensing to you? You got a ton of products and they would rather deal with you.
So when we started, we had one product 4 years ago. I mean, 20 years ago. And then we made it into 4 different sizes, but we still have one product. And we took it to Ace and to Lowe's and Home Depot, and they directed us to the distributor. Like the product, we can't buy from you. So, you know, we went same course everybody does when they start up. You've got to partner somebody that's in your field. Don't get a fish out of the water, we're gonna have trouble. So,
right.
Fasteners, you get with the fastener company. Tools, get with the tool company. That's my advice.
And when you look at when definitely Mike with his picture hanging product, I mean, I've never seen a company with so many hanging solutions. It's crazy. I mean, is there anybody that has as many hanging solutions as you guys?
I don't think so. I mean, that's all we do. Is it doesn't hang attached to the wall. We're not interested in it.
Okay.
Really, I mean, that's our whole point. You know, we got to stay in our zone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the things that fit. You know, you have a whole chain of things here. Like, does it fit your manufacturing? Does it fit your supply chain? Does it fit your marketing organization? Does it fit your customer base? And you need all 4 of those to be successful. If those links are missing, you're going to have troubles. You're going to falter somewhere along the way. So, and that's how I look at something. If it fits our wheelhouse, we have a very good chance to be successful.
Andrew, you know what I'm noticing when you're going through these slides, that they have a lot of 5-star reviews. So congratulations, everyone.
We're very, very careful on our quality. We're very careful on what we do. We manufacture the product here, or at least we package it. We make a part in China, we bring it in here, we do all the packaging here. So our quality control is there, and we have high standards.
So, Jim, tell us a little bit about, well, first of all, I do want to say congratulations on all your success during the coronavirus. I know that the one particular product, Push and Hang, which we love so dearly, is selling out. You mentioned that earlier. Why do you think it's doing so good now? Is there something, are people staying home? I guess they're staying home and they're fixing up their house. They want to hang things. Is that why it's selling out?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just got it on, what, 2 months ago, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we started the first one, yeah, about a month ago. Yeah, 2 months ago, actually.
It was sold just as well last November.
Okay.
Great product. It's a great demo. It works. It's just so simple. So people, all it needed is exposure.
And I think what's working with things like the home shopping network and things like that is that, you know, the last thing people need right now, especially through all this COVID stuff, is, you know, more stress, you know, and so bringing this to them, something that they are at home and maybe they're doing things now in springtime, and it's so simple for them. It takes all the stress away, so they don't have to grab any tools. They don't have to ask for help. And I think that helps a lot for somebody that's sitting home watching it on TV, you know. And going back to what we talked about a minute ago about all Jim's products, That's one of the main reasons why I partnered up with Jim. Is his product line is 100% about simplicity, and that's what's so fun about it. Everything he sells, basically, anybody can use it in all age groups. So that's what's so wonderful about it.
The one thing I liked, Mike, when I first saw your product, I hang a lot of pictures, and it's not easy. Okay. And I'm always asking my wife to help me, and it's never straight on the wall. And I have extra holes everywhere. It's a problem, and you've made it so simple to use that I think the audience is really going to appreciate taking all the stress out of it. I think you're absolutely right.
Well, what happened was when I developed the product is I found out that it wasn't even the tools you used. It doesn't matter if you have the best, $300 level or all the tools you use, because what happens is even though you marked the holes before, you still had to go back and pick up the conventional hammer, find a nail, find a screw, whatever you're using, and go in and put it in. And that's how it always sort of came out uneven. And when I developed this, I wanted to go beyond the marking tool. I wanted to make sure nobody had to touch anything, where they can just simply walk up, punch it, walk away, and hang the picture. And so that's why it's so fun to use.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the COVID question that Stephen was asking, Jim, you and I were having an interesting conversation about distribution during COVID, and you had some things to say about Walmart and how things are a little different for you right now. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think we were really, really lucky. Our customer base and our product mix. Walmart manufactured television mounts. Same idea, simple, easy. Hang a TV like it's a picture. They have those in Walmart. So when the COVID hit, most of the stores closed, but not Walmart. So if you wanted to buy a television during this time, you wanted to look at it before you bought it, you could go to Walmart, Target, Costco, or Sam's Club. Period. No other electronics store was open. So that was part one. So combine that with the fact that people are homebound. Add to that, you have your kids at home at the same time, created a demand for a lot more televisions. So Walmart jumped on that. Their business quadrupled TV mounts. So we've been just literally inundated. The other thing that helped us is we were determined to be an essential vendor. Lowe sent us a letter, Home Depot did, Ace, because they were essential retailers, we're essential vendor to all of them. So they qualified us to stay open. They also make some things that are required, like child safety kits, supply the military bases, Army, Air Force Exchange, the Navy. So all those reasons qualified us. And then we got the orders to go with it. So we've been working. Last weekend we ran Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
So Walmart's an essential service, as you say, and your types of products have been selling like crazy there. That's fantastic news to hear. A lot of people are thinking like everybody's suffering during COVID, and that's not true. For some people it's the opposite.
Yeah, Jim, can we talk a little bit about the trade show that got canceled? And I think it's set for, September.
Talking about the National Hardware Show?
Yes.
Okay.
How big an impact will that be if that show does not happen for people in the hardware industry?
Well, we're a little bit concerned that there'll be a trade show, attendance might be way off. Question whether Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, players will actually send a team. We don't think so. So that's going to take the edge off the show. Another problem, I was just looking at the floor plan. Primarily, the whole China section is empty. It's a prohibited flight from China to the U.S. They can't come here. So again, that's another reason a lot of people maybe pass. And then there'll be a lot of people that just don't want to get in a crowd yet. Or maybe by then they'll feel better.
Okay.
So we're worried that it's going to be a soft show. Another problem that's going on right now that you would realize, all the major buyers are not taking visitations. Everything is done like this. Electronics, they don't even want samples. Just had a conference call with Home Depot team, 5 of their buyers. They're all working at home.
Mm-hmm.
We put a lot of preparation into it. Really great presentation. They have their Zoom equivalent of Zoom.
Okay.
And worked out great. One of the engineers who was on had questions. Said, "Hey, we could send you a sample." Oh, absolutely not. No samples. So it makes it very, very difficult right now to anything new. It's everything. All the conversations we are having is next year. We started to work a program with Dollar Tree. Got 9 products that they want to test. They're all set to go with the COVID hit. Postpone the test because in their case, when they do a test, pretty unusual. Management goes in and sets the test up, sure that it's correct. Then they monitor it for 2 weeks. Then they find out if it's good. If it is, plan to roll the product out. All that stuff stopped because they wouldn't allow their management to go in the stores.
Mm-hmm.
So despite these issues, Jim, are your sales up or down?
We're actually up quite a bit.
Quite a bit. Okay.
But it's
Things are
heavily,
going well. QVC, HSN, Walmart sales are good. How about Lowe's and Home Depot sales?
Lowe's is also good. And the interesting thing we have you probably saw our floating shelf. It's a new product. Thought about cancellation of trade shows. The Houseware show in March was the launch date for that and a lot of our products. We were all set to go, and like 4 days before that, they canceled that show. It's a huge show. So set this thing back. Well, we had already presented this to Lowe's. Interesting, since we can ship and a lot of vendors cannot, Lowe's just gave us an order for 10,000 of those shelves shipped next Friday because they can't get merchandise. They can get merchandise. They can't get that product. Can't get shelving. So you're really a very uneven, disturbed marketplace right now.
Okay.
Walmart,
So you have to.
Walmart, for example, not have any in-person visits in 2020. Be able to meet a buyer. So we just launched a new program with them. Again, same thing, all electronically. We're able to send samples to their layout center. They can walk, they sterilize them, and they can look at it. So we picked up a huge commitment. Roll out in September. Again, all done electronically. It's a tough situation.
So
With
it's
regards
just.
to all these- Go ahead, Steven. Sorry.
I'm sorry. What, Andrew?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it sounds like even though it's difficult, you guys are still doing extremely well. And I'm sure that's difficult for everyone. Let's switch the conversation a little bit, Jim, about how important is innovation for your company, for people like Mike to knock on the door and say, hey, we've got a great idea. How important is that for your company?
To me, it's extremely important. I think you need to have.
We can't really hear you, Jim. If you
I'm
could
sorry.
get a little closer to the mic. There you go.
Yeah, how about now?
Oh, that's better. Yeah.
Okay. It's extremely important to us. It's really, to me, kind of the lifeblood of our future. Stay on the leading edge. Again, we need to stay in our wheelhouse. It's on the wall or the ceiling. It's attached to something that fits what we do. So we're open to all ideas, any submission. I love to do that and find things that we can expand our product line with that makes sense.
Your products, when I was in the booth, your booth at the hardware show and the houseware show, and most of them are pretty unique. Sometimes you go into a booth and like, oh, okay, kind of seen that. You got a lot of fairly unique products. So how important is it that it's unique, or it's got to be more than just unique? It's got to be truly useful. To be able to hang a TV, like you said, like a picture frame, essentially, when I saw the stuff that you guys were hanging, I'm like, whoa, that's cool. It might not come across on the website, but when I saw it in person, I thought it was pretty cool. Do you get a lot of raving fans that are telling their friends and family about your products?
I think we get a lot of positive reviews, a lot of 5-star reviews. So that's, yeah, nothing but really good comments. Probably 95% 5-star.
Wow.
Well, Andrew, it kind of looks like there's a little magic trick happening here with some of the products. It definitely Mike's product has that. Oh, wow. Right. So, Jim, let's talk a little bit about looking at new products from inventors. Is there anything you could help our audience realize, things that maybe they're doing right, or maybe they're doing wrong, or any ideas that are coming to you that you kind of roll your eyes going, maybe that's not a good fit, or did they do their homework, or I don't understand it. What are you seeing that you could help our audience or inventors do a better job when they're submitting to companies?
Okay, this would be sort of my thought process in evaluating things. So first of all, the inventor, they need to be sure there's a real need for the product. So a lot of times people do something and they think, wow, that solved that problem. I'm going to get a patent on this. This is a great idea. Maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. And they really need to make sure it's a solution to a problem that needs to be solved, not just something that they did some extraordinary thing and maybe there was a solution on the market anyway. So we get a fair number of those people, just it's not thought out. Second thing any inventor should do is sort of what you call a focus group. It doesn't have to be formally, it can be done a lot of different ways, but don't just ask your mom, what do you think? Go out and talk to people. And when you're doing that, the most important thing is you need to listen. Probably the most important part of listening is the question. So if somebody asks you a question, you need to understand that's an objection. If they don't understand and they don't think it's necessary, they're bewildered by it, whatever. If they have a question, do not ignore the question. If you can't solve those questions, you have a failed product. It's the hardest thing to do. So please, any question, I tell all of our team, somebody asks a question, it's a big objection. It's incumbent for us to solve that. Do this
That's
all the
good
time.
stuff, isn't it, Stephen? I mean, that's like, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other thing, once you've kind of got to that point, or somewhere before that, search the Google patents, or better yet, with InventRight. And they'll guide you through these things so you don't waste a lot of time on a product that's already on the market. So kind of watch that. Once you get to that point, you go, okay, I have a product that has a need. And I pretty well feel I've answered the questions successfully. I'm ready to move on. So then you need to find a partner that's a fit. It's really, really important. If you're not in their lane or they're not in your lane, you have a failure. It will never work. So if you've got a hardware thing, a faster product, get with a faster company. It's an OEM product, you need to get with an OEM manufacturer or distributor. Keep your focus so that you can fit in the flow. If you don't, again, you're going to have a failure. You just have a lot of time and frustration and never get anywhere.
Jim, is there a particular way you like inventors to present? Do you like videos? Do you like one-page advertisements? We call them sell sheets. Do you like emails to be short and brief? Do you like inventors to ramble? Kind of making a joke there. But what do you like and don't like when you get an idea from an inventor?
Okay, well, it will depend on if I see the product fits with us. If it fits, I want as much information as possible. I don't want a rough idea. I mean, when I hooked up with Mike, he sent me a video showing him installing the product. It was very well done, and I saw it. I said, "This is a product that we could sell." So went from there. But other people will send, animated, computerized illustrations of how the product works. those are helpful. Sometimes they'll actually send printed part that you can actually play with and test. That's important. When you get to the point where you think you have a fit, you have to have that. So in Mike's case, he was the most prepared inventor that's ever come to us. He even came with working prototypes and a video. So that's and he's a good pitch man. This is the whole package. That's pretty unusual.
Hey, Mike, are you still on?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that for just a minute, about your process, because you went down a couple different roads, didn't you, before you licensed? Is that correct?
I did, absolutely. Even when I came across InventRight, which was later on in my process, I actually found you guys and came across you guys when I was actually pre-licensed to a DRTV company that hit me up at one of the trade shows and thought it would be wonderful for as seen on TV products. So yeah, I was halfway through a licensing deal, and then I didn't know that much about the actual license, written out license. So I called you guys and got hooked up with you guys, but and then sort of it helped me through that process. So that's where I started, yeah. And that sort of fell apart. So then I sort of backed up and I really got involved with you guys at InventRight and sort of started a little bit more from the beginning as far as a mentor type process, and then moved on from there. So, everything that I've learned, up to my point, just on my own and through you guys is how I sort of called and got a hold of Jim. And Jim wasn't the first guy on my list. I mean, not that he wasn't because of Hangman Products, but I sort of went down the line like we all do, and I made all kinds of phone calls, and I had a lot of no's. I mean, a lot of no's before I got my first yes with Jim wanting to take a look at it. And one of the great things I liked about Jim was not only when you're out there trying to locate somebody as a licensee, definitely find somebody that's already been in the game, that's already been that knows retail, that knows big box, that knows all of the ins and outs of it. And the best thing about it was he was just as passionate about my product as I was. I didn't want to hook up with just a partner or a licensee that could say, I think we can bring this to market and you got something here. I wanted to hook up with somebody that had a lot of passion into the product as well. And that's why I think we make such a good partnership, is we both can see the future in this product. And so it's worked out really, really well.
Nice.
Stephen, I didn't ask you. You asked our IT guy to upload a video. Is that Mike's video?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Mike, I want to talk a little bit more about your video.
Okay.
Did you shoot it yourself?
It depends which ones. I had a couple of them. At the beginning, I wish I wouldn't have spent the money I did, because I went out and sort of did a little bit of a sort of a trailer video that I could send to a DRTV company, when I first started. And then they sort of kind of spliced that into some of their own effects, and we sort of used that together. And then I backed up and started making 2 other videos. I made a short video on my own, and then I also kind of had a guy sort of tweak that into a better kind of a shorter trailer type video. But then as we sort of moved along,
yeah, the one you made with your wife was great, and you just shot it with your iPhone, I think, right?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I've had when I uploaded that on social media, I had more response on that 25-second video with my wife than I did spending 5,000-10,000 on videos. I mean, I wish I would have thought of that before, but I was one of those excited guys. I had my prototypes, I was ready to go. I got, oh gosh, I'm going to run out there and spend my money and do all this. What a mistake. I should have really looked at the big picture, and I wish I would have found you guys earlier. But yeah, Andrew, that little video has got more response, and we actually used her and did a lot of our B-roll stuff for for the home shopping networks, and it's worked out really well, don't you think, Jim?
Absolutely.
Well, she's a natural pitch person too, isn't she? How did that all?
Family.
Yeah, she is. When I first started the trade show, she would walk around with the sell sheets while I was in the booth, and she did really good job at it.
Nice. Oh, very good. Mike, you're becoming pretty seasoned with this now. Is there anything you would recommend anybody that's listening that could kind of help that next inventor that maybe is just starting out? What other tips would you give?
Well, after being with you guys and after doing all that I've done so far, I get a lot of people approach me. I mean, on LinkedIn and these different sites and Facebook and whatever, and want me to help them. And, they automatically tell me their little story. And the first thing they say, and the first thing they say is, I got my product. I've already gotten a patent. I got an attorney. I've worked on my patent. And, and every time I do that, I go, well, send me what you got. Send me part of your product, whatever. And they always say, I don't have it. I don't, all I have is just my thought process, and I have a drawing, but I haven't looked into anything. But they went and they rush out and they get a patent and they spend all this money and they do all these things, prior to what they should be doing, instead of, getting on there and getting a little education behind themselves. And like Jim said earlier, do some of your own personal homework. The very first thing is make sure there certainly is a need for that product, and that's, and start with that, and go from there. But so many people spend so much money right out of the gate on a lot of things that just definitely don't need to be spent money on, and I think that's probably one of the biggest problem with people that are, I guess, we call them or whatever, newbies or guys getting in the entrepreneurs or getting in the marketplace. But they're so anxious. They're so anxious to get out there and get busy, and then they tend to think that they know so much about it, and really they don't. They need to go back and start from the beginning, and don't do what I did. Everybody, if you guys are listening, don't do what I did. Just rush out there and do it. Yes, I'm very blessed by having a viable product that is making it now, but there is a process in place, and start from the beginning. And that's what I would tell everybody, whether they call InventRight or other people that have some sort of mentor system, but really learn from people that have done it, and get out there and do it that way.
Mike, why do you think they file a patent first? Is it out of fear? Are they watching Shark Tank on Friday night? Why do they do that?
I think so many people, they're so worried about somebody stealing their product, and the first thing in their mind, where they even got the idea in their head, is, well, I've got to get a patent to make sure I cover this thing so nobody steals it, and I got to make sure that I have that in place, and that's going to really safeguard me and give me peace of mind, and that's really sort of totally wrong. Number one, people aren't just out there to steal your product. Even at trade shows, people that walk around and come in your booth, people go, oh, don't watch them because I'm thinking they're taking pictures and they're going to steal your product. And I mean, literally, unless, and you guys know this, unless you guys taught me this, I mean, unless you're selling literally millions of products of that item a year, or things that are really going gangbusters, nobody's going to want to knock you off. Nobody's going to spend the time to do what you did to move 100 products or thousands of products. So nobody's in the market to steal your product, for one thing. So you don't need to rush out and jump on and get that patent. I think that's what everybody's thinking.
I think that's a great question for Jim. Jim, how much of it is patent protection and how much of it is strong distribution as protection? Can you speak to that? What is your belief?
Yeah, I think patents can be important, but I think your brand, product line package is more important to a retailer. Retailers are not interested in getting into patent litigation, creating a bad reputation that they steal ideas. So in fact, every contract that we have with these major accounts has a whole section devoted to the fact that we will not do that. We won't bring in a product that infringes on patents, and if we do, we will totally indemnify and defend them. So they're not out there like trying to steal people's ideas. And anybody that brings a product to them, they want to make sure they have to sign the same contract.
And then how about, I mean, you have pretty good distribution. I mean, you're in Walmart, you're in a lot of other stores. Somebody could knock off some of your products, but is it really going to hurt you? Is Walmart going to deal with another vendor that's clearly knocking off your product? I know it happens sometimes, but I mean, they want to go with the legitimate vendor most of the time. I mean, if they can. And
sure, well, You know, in Walmart's case, you know, there's only one Walmart, one of a kind. Um, they have a very, very strong Made in USA initiative, which is kind of how we got started. So we went to the Made in USA Summit. We have a rep agency that specializes in working with them. So we got invited. We took like a little booth, and then the buyers come and look at your product. They committed to buy $50 billion a year products made in the USA. Very, very serious about that. So it got looked at strongly because of that, and then we had to go through the whole qualifying process. He never once asked us if we had a patent. It didn't mean anything to them. They wanted to know was, once they liked the product, then they wanted to know, could we supply them? Very interesting too. Made it just point blank clear. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't need to be able to supply 4,000 stores to sell us. Like your product, you can only handle 200 stores, start there. Form, then if you're ready to do 500 stores, then we'll grow that way. They emphasize that over and over again. So people have misconceptions about Walmart. They want a good price, they want a good quality, and above all, they want you to ship on time.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot tolerate people that don't ship. That's why they take what you can handle comfortably. They don't want to dominate your business. So there's a case where the Made in USA, if your product is Made in USA, you have an audience. Pretty well can get a meeting at their annual thing every year, Made in USA Summit. Now this year I think it got canceled, but next year.
So Jim, they're really a good partner.
They are. They're demanding to do what you say you can do. They want,
So
you know, the product has to retail, so you have to make something that fits their price points, customer.
mm-hmm.
So we're learning. We've only been working with them a little over 2 years, and yeah, I learned something just about every day, how complex the business is, how you can fit in it.
Jim, you mentioned something interesting to me. You said that Lowe's and Home Depot are not competitors to Walmart, but Walmart and Target is. So quite often you're either in Walmart or you're in Target, but unless you're a really big, really big of the big companies, you're not usually in both. Is that accurate?
Yeah, or you get a lot of private label.
Uh-huh.
You look at Lowe's and Home Depot. You know, there's definitely, you know, those are arch rivals. Very few people can sell branded product to both of them.
So Jim, let's talk about protection for just a minute. So it sounds, what you're saying to me, and tell me if I'm right, that companies like Walmart are a good partner. That's one way to protect yourself, making sure you can ship what you can ship and hit all the targets where Walmart protects yourself. Having good customer reviews protects yourself. Good customer service made in the USA protects yourself a little bit too, right?
Absolutely. For some people.
Okay. Huh. That's very interesting, having all those things that we don't think really protect us, but they do.
And none of those things are a patent.
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, I wanted to go back to what you were talking about. You said you like to keep products simple. If somebody came to you with a highly complex product, I mean, why is that so important? Is it important from manufacturing, from the consumer standpoint? Why is it important to keep products simple for you?
Well, you have to be able to manufacture the product successfully. If you get something really complex, you're going to move into a higher price point. Market can be limited. So we try to find something that has broad use, that's simple to use. Sometimes they're not as simple to manufacture as you think, but they're simple to use. I think that's, when I say simple, that's what I mean. Something has pages of instructions. It's not something we would want to get into, and our customers wouldn't do it either.
Mhm.
Hey,
Would
Mike,
go ahead, Steven.
Mike, what do you think
Yeah.
about protection?
You mean about patents and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, how do you protect yourself? Are you worried about someone knocking you off?
I'm not. I talk to a lot of people that talk to me, also that, and I always tell them, I go, we always talk about this one liner, first to market, and that's a big thing, getting something first to market, and I tell people, I said, you go out and get patents and you don't really know if it's a viable product. So patent office and those things, and we all know are, 3 years behind, and anything could happen to that product, even if it's viable. It might have 1 year lifespan, it might have a 2 year lifespan, it might have a 20-year lifespan. But to go out and rush out and do that and literally spend, $15,000 to $40,000 on patents, absolutely makes no sense when you don't even know if it's viable. And if it is, it's first to market. Get it out there. The thing is, get that product out there. And as Jim said, Walmart wasn't concerned about patents, and most companies aren't in that respect.
Okay.
So yeah, I went out and got patents. Now I did it prematurely, and I got really good utility patents on this now. Would I have done it before? I don't know. Probably not rush out and get it. No.
Okay. How important is your brand that you're building, Push and Hang, and your social media audience now that you're building? How important is that to you, and think, being the first, being the original, is that part of your plan as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a big part of it, especially for a product like mine that's demonstrable, or demonstratable, however you want to say that. But people, it's a product that people need to see. They need to, and as soon as they do, as far as a demo, I mean, they really love it and get behind the product. I often say, a product can be on every shelf in every store in the world, but if they don't know what that product is or how it's used, they're going to walk right by it. So for me, social media and those kind of aspects, not only branding the product, but branding myself as well, because I am part of that product, and so people really get behind the inventor or the developer of a certain product, and they want to know your story. They want to know about you. They want to know about the product. It makes them feel comfortable. Not only that you've made mistakes along the way, and not only that you're also successful. So it's a very big part of the process.
Very good.
And one thing I would say to vendors, it's pretty simple and inexpensive. You get a provisional patent, and that protects you as date of origin. And when you have that, it's freer to talk to people. But before you spend a lot of money, you want to make sure you've done all these other things, that you have a real product. You want to find somebody that's real interested in it. Then you can start looking at investing in a patent, because that can be quite expensive. One thing I've learned, it's really easy to get a patent on a bad idea. It's really hard to get one on a good idea. Unique. Because there are so many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, I guess, of patents. I think the patent office gets something like 25,000 submissions every day. Just think about it. So you want to make sure to get a utility patent, you need to have an original thought, original idea. So those are difficult to get. Design patent keeps the honest people from copying you.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good too, and they're a lot cheaper. So that patent expense should come a little bit down the road.
Got it.
I think provisional only costs like $100 a file, and you get 1 year.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Andrew, let's open it up for questions. I know we're coming up on the hour.
Sure, definitely. We got a few good ones here. Margaret says, I know Margaret. How you doing, Margaret? Do they help to refine products or help with the development of the product, or do they only accept things that are 100% ready to manufacture? What's your take on that, Jim?
Okay, so we want a product that's well thought out, that's answered these other questions we talked about. And then we want to work with an inventor that's open-minded. Because when we get into manufacturing, you start to find out little things. Like in Mike's case, good example is Mike started off with a custom-made nail. Really started to analyze that. We thought better off to find a common nail that anybody could buy in a hardware store. So realized that putting a custom nail into the marketplace would be a problem on people buying more nails. So Mike didn't argue. He says, I agree. That's a good idea. So we went out and we found the most common nail of that size, which is 1-inch number 17 rad, sold in every store. Even Walmart sells it. So it took all the difficulty out of a simple thing like that. So if somebody was hung up on that, no, I have to have my special nail, we would walk away. So, so you have to deal with the practical issues of manufacturing. Sometimes you need to get into cases where you have to change something for the manufacturing process. You need to work with people who understand that. We may find, as we're all working on this, maybe we get an improvement, some little thing. You need to work together as a team. You can't have somebody that's just, I won't do that, I won't allow it, change, whatever. So that's kind of how we look at it.
So you got to be flexible and you have to be part of the team. That makes sense.
Jim, we've heard other companies say this. They've said, I've passed on products. I love the product, but I could tell the inventor was going to be too difficult to work with. And so I told him no. Has that ever been the case with you?
Oh, absolutely. Or, I had an example one time of a product that we would have taken, but they had done their own analysis of what the potential market was. And they extrapolated out year 1, 2, 3, and 4. They said, you realize in year 4, allowed to sell a picture hanger to everybody in America?
Oh, God.
I think we will. I said, well, I don't think you will. So, we can't, we have to start there. Let's still start. So walked away from it. They've had a modest success. You probably sell 1 to every 10,000 people in America, something like that.
Hmm.
So, we had cases like that. It was like they're nice people. They were just pie in the sky. There's no point of beginning with it because it's going to be a problem.
So what I hear you saying is the people that you work with don't need to be rocket scientists. They don't need to be engineers. The most important thing is they need to be easy enough to work with. And if the product isn't tremendously complicated, they don't need to be Einstein, but they need to be easy to work with.
Yeah,
Hey, Jim, how important is cost?
cost depends on the product. So it's a broad answer. It has to fit in its niche, wherever it is, whatever it is. It can't be priced out of line. You just have to kind of look at it. Does this sell at $9.95 or $19.95 or $89.95? Will it sell? Got to go through that process because that's what the retailers do. That's very interesting. We do a lot of trade shows and interface with hundreds of buyers. In all of this time, I've never had one ask me, what is the cost of this product? None. You know what they ask? What's the retail price? It took me about 5 years to realize what the question was all about. So they look at the product, you tell them this is going to retail at $20, they know their store very well. They determine, can we sell this at $20? Yes or no? They don't ask the cost. They figure all of that. If you're in business, you're smart enough to realize they have to make a profit. You have to be able to deal with all the back end costs, advertising, freight allowances, all the volume rebates, all the things that they request or need. So cost is real important relative to your product.
Okay.
Price in the family.
Do you have any tips for an inventor you've got a background, you've experienced that forever, especially in your product category, but what can an inventor do to get a feel for it? Do they just look at other things that are kind of similar and size it up and use their best judgment? And does the average inventor how do they learn that skill to know, is this a $9, a $10 product or a $20 product? Will it sell for $9? Actually, the question is, will it sell for 10 or will it sell for 20? Not is it that.
It's very difficult, for person that's not in manufacturing and retail to make that assessment. But what they need to do is find somebody like us, or you, and have a little bit of a feel for what it might cost to manufacture the product, and then they have to listen to reason. It's not going to fit. It's not going to retail, or it's going to go into very limited, high-end custom market, which is a good business. You can get in that. If you want to get into retail placements, it's got to fit in the retail family. Can't be outrageously priced. It'll fail.
We have a question from Brad. If we don't have much time left, but you guys have questions, type it in to the questions box. Brad says, Jim, what is the best way to submit products to you?
Email me.
Email. Okay. So do they just go on their website, or do you want to give an email? What works?
Yeah, I'm easy. I'm Jim at hangmanproducts.com.
Jim at hangmanproducts.com. Okay. There you go, Brad.
And I read every email.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. So are you the one that reviews every product at your company, or does somebody else?
It starts with me. I look at it first.
Stephen, that's kind of unusual. Usually the
Well,
CEO's not.
I just want to make sure everybody that's listening really understands that. Make sure you look at their product line. Make sure you really understand the category they're in. Look at all the products. They're not going to look at an idea that doesn't really probably hang or adhere something to a wall or a table or something. Is that correct, Jim? I mean, you don't want something that's outside your category, correct?
That's correct. A good example is, I think somebody that your people even maybe, or somehow knew going to have this conference, sent an email to me with their idea for a clever product. It was a gate hardware part. And it's not for us, but I directed him to the company that could probably be able to help him. I happen to know that company. So he appreciated that. So yeah, if I look at them, if it's something we might get into, maybe one of our customers. I'm happy to pass it on.
Okay. So everyone listening, make sure you send him something that's going to fit his product line. So study his product line, look at his web page, but don't send him something that doesn't fit. It's a waste of your time and his.
Right.
And he wants to see a proof of concept, maybe a prototype or something where he can see it work and understand it.
Right. Steve and I have done a lot of these free webinars or something in our newsletter, and when it's not our students, a lot of you have been watching a YouTube show, or maybe you read our books, and maybe some of you haven't. And sometimes the company will get inundated with things that aren't appropriate, and it's just a rookie wall or a ceiling or something. Jim was very clear. I'm not interested. It's got to attach to a wall or ceiling in some way. And I don't think he can be any more specific, Stephen. I think that's.
I actually like this, Andrew, because he can tell pretty quickly if it fits or not. I like that.
Well, it's easier for him to review products. Other people have a different product line with a lot of different.
I know.
Yeah, categories. And it's easier for him. He can see right away. Okay, not a right match for us.
You would think that it would be people would send him the right stuff, knowing what he does. So we're just going to hope that everybody does exactly what Jim is telling us.
I think what we talked about earlier, guys, is just simply simplicity. When you think of Hangman Products, think of simplicity. So when you're thinking about sending things to Jim, if I could say that, it's simply simplicity. Don't think of things that's got 50 moving parts or 20 pages of instructions. Just think simplicity, and then think about what product you can design for Hangman.
I'm sure you don't mind me saying this, Mike, but your product is actually fairly complicated compared to most of Jim's products.
But it works simple, though.
But it works simple, right? But it is more complex than other products on his site.
What about electronics, Jim?
Yeah, we're not in electronic parts. It's not something we can make here, so we'd have to import that.
What about lasers? Something that do it with the laser to make sure it's level and all that stuff.
Well, there's some of those things on the market. I don't think it's where we're going. We're looking, more at broadening our product line, like we've launched these floating shelves. That's a hot category.
Okay.
PV mounts we're working on, safety devices, anti-tip kits. We're looking to broaden. We're into wall hooks. Have some very clever, unique wall hooks, ceiling hooks. So they're complicated as complex tooling and make these things, but they operate simply.
I love it.
But here's like, if I was on his site, this is what one assumption I would come to. I could go in child safety and I go, okay, looks like they're in child safety, but they don't have a lot of products there yet. Maybe they need some more. You know, I mean, I don't know if you believe that, Jim, but I mean, that's one
Yeah.
conclusion I would come to. They're in that
Sure.
category, but they don't have that many yet.
Yeah, we would look at any ideas there. Definitely.
Yeah, it could come to many other conclusions. So you guys need to study these companies' sites and see where they're going with things. And if they're open to one child safety product, they're probably going to be open to others. Other companies probably wouldn't want to do anything with drilling into the wall. That's one question I had for you, Jim. I mean, you're used to that. That's like your niche, right? But other companies are like, no, if it drills into the wall, we don't want to touch it.
But Andrew, they've got products that don't drill into the wall, like for dorm rooms or apartments. I saw those
Right.
too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we have removable tape products. We would look to expand that. Somebody came up with something good.
Hey, if you guys, we're going to finish up here in a few minutes, guys. If you can type your thank yous for Jim into the GoToWebinar questions box. Jim, I'll read a few off to you, but I want to send them to you as well. Oh, we're 6:01, so I better read a few off here. And then I'll send them all to you. But if you guys can type them in, that would be great before you leave here, or now, because we're going to end up very quickly here. Kim says, thank you, very helpful. As always, I appreciate all that you do for us. Let's see. Tom says, great webinar tonight. Thanks, guys. So long. He says he's got interest from a company. Congratulations, Tom. It was too long to read. Let's see. John says, thank you, Jim. Great information. Great product, Mike. Much success. Keep inventing. Margaret says, thank you. Very informative talk tonight, Jim, and your email for submissions. She's very excited that you gave her your email. So I don't blame her. I would be too. Let's see. Luke says, Jim, thank you for your time today. I appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge and insights. Luke from Byron Bay, Australia. So cool. Yeah, we have people from around the world. So if you guys type them in, I'll send them to Jim. I'm sure he'll really appreciate that. We just appreciate you coming on, Jim, and telling it from a company perspective. You're helping inventors better understand from your perspective so they can be more successful and they can do better submitting products to companies like you. And just, it's incredible that you're doing that. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Mike, do you have anything you want to say in closing maybe about Jim or about inventing in general? Or
No, I really can't stand the guy. I tell you, if you've got something that you think is going to be very, very viable for people like that, especially in the hanging part of the industry, give Jim a call. You won't regret it. Great to work with, unbelievable. And I wish everybody luck out there. Just think hard about what you're coming up with and take time to go through the process, and you'll do very well. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Always fun to be on InventRight.
Thank you for coming on, Mike. Steven, anything you want to say in closing?
No, I just want to thank Jim. I love your company. I love how you help inventors. I think it's fantastic. So thank you very much. And I want to say, Mike, you're the real deal. You know how to do it now. Your product's fantastic. It's selling. You do demos. You're a pitchman. You do all of it now. So congratulations on being a pro.
No, thank you so much. I always appreciate you guys. You guys are the best.
All right. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Good,
Keep
okay.
inventing.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.